Hello, in this video we're going to cover some CSS animation basics. So here we have our setup. We have a container which is centering two groups of squares. They each have an item class, so that would select all of them, and then they each have an individual item to select individual elements. So the first thing we need to talk about before we talk about animation is just transformation. So what I'm going to do in our item hover pseudo class is add a transform to our elements. To do that, we write transform, and we'll see there's many different attributes in here that we can actually stack together. Let's start with translate y, and then we'll give it a value. Let's say 50. So now as I roll over these items, they'll move down 50 pixels. Let's make it negative 50 pixels. Okay. We can also stack transformations. So for example, if I wanted to also have them rotate 45 degrees, now it's going to do both things. It's going to translate, then rotate. And the nice thing about doing it in this transform effect is the order of operations will give you different results. So if I rotate first and then translate, see how it shifts? So first it turns, it basically takes the axis, if there was an axis that this thing is on, turns that and then translates it 50 pixels, right? So you have a lot more control than calling individual transform effects if you stack them like this. Okay, so but right now they're just popping. And let's add one more thing here. I'm going to just uncomment this background color. But if we want them to actually animate, we need some form of transition. So in our root piece here, we're going to do transition. And we're going to do the transform. And the duration will be 0.5 seconds. If we notice the blue happens instantly. If we want the blue to happen as well, we can do background color. 0.3 seconds. We could also do everything all at once by putting in all. So the last thing I want to talk about with transforms is where the pivot point is. So let's lose the translate. Let's make the rotate 90 degrees. So right now, by default, the pivot is in the center of the element. If we wanted to change that so it would pivot from different corners, what we would do is we would do transform origin, and the default is 50%, 50%, and we'll you'll see that doesn't do anything. But if I make it 0, 0, now it's one corner. And I could do 0, 100%, and I'll make another corner. Okay, so that's transform. I'm going to turn this origin thing off for a second. Reload. Cool. There's a parameter called transition timing function, and we could say the default is ease, so this shouldn't change anything. But there's other things we could do. We could do ease in, so it goes slow and then hits hard. Ease out. And then there's also linear. There's more mechanical. There's a stepped one. It's basically a hard animation, similar to a stepped keyframe, but there's a delay based on the timing. But we could also customize this curve. So let me go back to ease for a second. And then we'll open this thing up in Chrome and then inspect this. And in the timing function, there's a little tiny button there. It's easy to miss. And if you grab that, you can change these curves and customize it. And you can kind of see what happens here. That's kind of fun. And there's other presets here. And what's cool about this is you can grab a handle and move it over and stuff. But we can grab this if we adjust the animation to be something we like. We can grab this code right here and then put it in our CSS. And now that will define how these transitions happen, which is pretty neat.